Welcome to Spirituelle Sunday, where women of the world meet. Every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, women from around the world unite for communion with true wisdom, soul purpose, and deep destiny. Watch us on most channels at Spirituelle Society or on our website at spirituellesociety.com. Each week, through inspired teachings, soulful reflections, and supermind secrets, we explore the deeper dimensions of spiritual leadership for women and what it takes to live a powerful, purposeful, pure, and prosperous life on this planet today. Welcome back, everyone, to Spirituelle Sunday. My name is Lee Jacobs, and I'm joined by Kathy Roseborough, and I want to do a special happy birthday to you, Kathy.
Oh, thank you.
This is such a beautiful celebratory day. The energy today around the planet is just feeling so beautiful and peaceful, and all to celebrate you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We're here tonight with, every week we pick topics that we feel are very relevant, very important to talk about. And this week we wanted to talk about what the body reveals. I remember reading a book called The Body Reveals. Gabor Mate wrote a book called When the Body Says No. There's a lot of incredible resources to remind us that our body really is like a pendulum. Our body really does share truth. And we're in a time right now, spiritually and energetically, where we are being called up to higher levels of living. We're also being called up to now embody our values. Whereas, 10 years ago, you could teach on certain topics or teach on health. But now it's really, we're being called up to embody truth and embody our values. And I know I speak to so many women that are like, oh, yes, like I'm a healthcare practitioner and I'm teaching all this stuff. But in my own personal life, I'm so far from embodying my truth because I don't have enough time or for many reasons. The world is here to distract us. And our work is to find our center. And so tonight we wanted to talk about what your body and your symptoms are revealing about your truth, your healing. And we're going to train you a little bit on the aura and how the aura can be used to find out the underlying secrets and messages your body may be trying to get your attention about through symptoms. And I just wanted to kind of give a very brief overview before I pass it over to Kathy. In my own life, many times when we have to be careful not to label ourselves, because we talked about on last week's episode on fear, how when we label ourselves, oh, I have this, or this is my diagnosis, we create a rigidity in our auric field, which can slow down and even hinder healing. And so today's discussion will be to think about why is your body trying to get your attention? And it does that through symptomology. It does that through pain or something out of harmony. So when your body is out of harmony to a level where it's showing up in the physical body, that's not always necessarily the root cause. And the challenge we have right now in the world we live in is that we're listening to social media, ChatGPT, Google, different practitioners that tend to overly obsess with the physical body because that's where it's showing up. But what if the underlying healing that's necessary or that's required is a spiritual up level, is emotional healing, is mental order? What if your body, it hits the physical body last? And Kathy's going to touch on this more, but we have to remember that our auric field is made up of several different bodies. And we have layers. We've got the emotional body, the spiritual body, the mental body. And our life, our history hits the
Mhm.
physical body last.
That's right.
And I've read before, and again, I'm sure you can't always put an actual number, but I have read and studied with different mentors who have said oftentimes if there is a trauma or some type of acute situation in our life, it often won't hit the physical body until 2 years later or more.
Mm-hmm.
That emotional or mental trauma, acute hit, shows up in the body down the road.
That's right.
So all I wanted to start with is that the body leaves clues. And although we want to honor the physical body and go see our healers and our naturopaths and our favorite healthcare, our osteopaths and practitioners, we have to remember that we are the true master healers.
That's
And
right.
we have to look at ourselves as whole beings and understand that we have to almost sift through all dimensions of us, our spiritual life, our emotional life, our mental health, our emotional health, and be like, what is my body trying to tell me? Because yes, I can slap on a label and go get some prescription, but that's just a band-aid. The body's trying to get my attention because I am so evolved and I'm not listening. And so I'm going to pass it to Kathy to expand on this.
Yeah, well, I think that's a beautiful way, just opening it up here. The thing is, like, when it's already the physical body is exhibiting symptoms and signs and manifesting illness and disease and discomfort and pain in whatever capacity, you've already, it's already gone farther than it was necessarily needed, didn't need to go that far. And what I mean by that is, why wait if you're not feeling well emotionally, or you have struggles with some mental challenges, whether that's just, the mental fog, fatigues, excessive drive of not getting enough rest, where you're using up so much mental energy and not refueling, or there's all sorts of things that we can be experiencing without the physical body yet telling us that there's something very wrong. If we can catch it when we're feeling emotionally or mentally off, if we catch it there, and I'll go into the aura on that in a moment, but if we can catch ourselves and say, I'm not feeling that great today. I'm not emotionally, I feel a little bit low, or I'm feeling a little down in the mouth, like a little depressed. Like, why? Like, what's going on emotionally and mentally, or what kind of thought patterns keep repeating themselves? And then if you can catch it there, then you're doing preventive healing, preventive medicine before it hits the physical. But things happen. Sometimes it gets to that physical and it's like, oh darn, now I've got a sore back, or I got sciatica, or I've got a shoulder out, or my stomach hurts, or whatever the case may be, thyroid issues. We can go anywhere in the physical manifestation. So now you have to go backwards. You go backwards and you look at it in the energy bodies. So it's helpful if you look at the location of the pain. That sometimes helps, because oftentimes it's telling you right where it hurts, and it's that energy, that area of the body that's sort of in closest proximity to your energy centers. Now, that's not always the case, though, because sometimes there's several centers involved. So you could be having, blood pressure or circulatory issues, and you're saying, oh, right away, it's my heart. Well, no, maybe it's not. Maybe it's your heart. Maybe it's also has to do with your some anxieties, or like, you remember, you can't just do one stroke of the brush there, but the body will really help you to understand what's going on behind the scenes. So you see how you talked about, is interesting, that it's like the body's like a pendulum, or it's like a barometer. It tells you there's something going on. What I'd really like to encourage the women listening is, please don't let it go that far. That's why we are better off living and striving towards a holistic practices that we can keep things in check. We keep checking in. We check in. We do a meditation. We do some self-analysis. The energy field is very much, it records, it's constantly recording what's happening in the now, what's happened in the past, and what could happen if you allow it to continue to degenerate in any way, shape, or form. So it really is quite the intelligence,
Mhm.
because it's really feeding to you right away.
It's also a really interesting, it's such a beautiful process because I know in my own life, going through that process of, yes, it showed up in a certain area of my body, but I contemplated. I was like, I am feeling rigid in my personality right now. Could
Yeah,
this be, the fear of losing control for me?
yeah,
Some of the persona traits that I took on, I actually learned to more be in contemplation with my body, to be like, what are you trying to tell me? And then
yeah.
researching the messaging behind that. And you just treat your body in a your relationship with your body becomes so much more mature,
Yeah,
instead of just researching, oh, I've got this. Let's like, this is what I
yeah.
have, I'm going to announce it to everybody. It's like, what if it is, I just think it's such a more sacred relationship.
It's very sacred. The body is your temple. Like, it's your living vehicle that you have been, that the Mother Earth has generously given to you for this lifetime. And it is made up of all the various components of the earth materials. And
Mhm.
because of that, right, bones and gas and waters and all the elements are there. So when you pick that up at birth, and that's your body, and it's ready to serve you for all the lifetime of exactly you need. Look how close of a relationship you're having with that, your physical body. So what happens is that, unfortunately, we tend to treat it with disrespect. Well, we do all sorts of things to it. Sometimes we don't feed it. We don't give it enough water. We don't give it enough rest. We do all these things to it. And then we wonder why it balks at you and it says, stop, whoa. And then you're like, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What's wrong? Oh, I
Mhm.
used to be able to do this, or I did that. Why now it won't? Now I'm getting sick. Well, did you ever think that maybe you've pushed it
Yeah.
to the limits? And so if you do tune in when you're in a quiet state, in your reflection, or you said you're in deeper contemplation and reflection and communication with the body is quite happy to share with you the underlying
Yes,
concerns. And
that
that
is
is the art.
that
That's the
is
art of healing.
for everyone listening. This is the point of tonight's Soulcast. It's
Yeah.
to start that art. But once you learn to quiet and to ground, the body will let you know the underlying wound or what is causing disharmony. But
Exactly.
because our world wants us to be distracted 24/7, it's
Yeah.
our work to put our foot down and to
Yeah.
hold ourselves more sacred. And you said something we talked about last week, how we are the generation of healing the trauma, especially as women.
Yes.
And we're
Yes.
healing trauma from 3 to 4 generations before us. And
That's
we're
right.
being called right now to
That's right.
activate healing right now. And a
That's
lot
right.
of women don't know that, or they haven't deeply understood that. And you talked about the aura reveals the root. And I'd love you to just touch on
Okay. Well,
what is
okay.
meant
So
by
we have, okay. So look, look at, first of all, ladies must understand we are natural healers, inherent healing. We are so wired for being healers, and that's why women have to look at this and heal themselves, because they, like, okay, so people, let's touch on, before I get to the aura, there is, like you said, well, there's the aura, and there is the fact that we can actually tap into, like, talk to the energy field, talk to the body and such. So with all the distractions, what's happened was we've started to, or we have created such a gap between our abilities to listen and communicate with the body, and because of the distractions externally, and we're being told just take this, just take that, and operate on just addressing the physical, and nothing could be further from the truth there. So turn it around and realize that by tuning out the distractions, which is what a healer will do. A healer will look at your auric field, will look at your energy field, and be able to tell you what is going on with your, what is the precursor, what is causing the underlying tension, or false beliefs, or the emotional upset or disharmony that's throwing the physical body off. But my point is, why can't we go back to remembering how to do it ourselves as well? Like, that's the whole idea, is healer, like heal thyself, move into that ability. Women are perfect at healing. They're just gifted. And I know that many will say, no, I don't know how. I disagree. It's inherent. And so if women could understand that their energy field is so important and learn that, what they're going to find is that they don't have to, like, I was interesting, you said, run to Chat GPT, to run to a physical answer, and instead tune in and say, all right, this is off. So you don't immediately think, oh, I better go to the hospital right away. Now, of course, we're not going to talk nonsense and say there isn't time where emergencies take you there. But when you have something that's been bothering you, and you say, you know what, there's got to be an underlying reason. That's where in meditative state, what you're wanting to return to learning, which I encourage very strongly, is learn to talk to the body and listen to it. There's an intelligence in your cells. You can talk to your cells. Like, I might sound strange, but you can talk to your cells, which means that everything is a mind to mind communication, whether it's the cells and organs, glands, your whole body, nature. I can go on to larger presentations of life than that. Now, we can talk about the communication between nature, trees, animals, humans, minds, higher mind. Don't cut off and say, oh, I believe in the mind to mind and the communication for other things, but not for me. Like, don't do that to yourself, because that's a gift from Creator. That's a gift. It's like saying, you can help yourself. You can also test nature's gifts to see what resonates with your body. When sometimes you've picked up, you go to eat some food and you're like, no, I'm not eating that. The vibe. It's the same principle for things that are going to be herbs or special remedies or supplements, whether they're going to help you. You can feel it, because there's either a repulsion, so there's all sorts of ways that the relationship between the physical body and the energy levels. Now, the energy levels begin, as you said, with that template right up against the physical, that etheric template, but it extends outwardly into large, very extensive bodies of consciousness that have many, many, many sub-levels, many of them. And that's why they're often referred to as peeling off an onion skin, because there's so many sub-levels. But don't let that be daunting. That's also you should want to be curious. It's nice. You should be curious about yourself. Learn about yourself.
And I have found for my own healing journey that I never look at just the physical. If I am dealing with something at the physical level, I'm also sourcing methods of healing at the same time that can support my emotional health, my mental health, vital body, the energy body. Yes. So I feel like as women, if we start exploring healing, even if it's as simple as I have a friend who her toe was always hurting, always, and she would always injure it, and something so simple. But even if it's that, what you think is trivial, it's like, okay, well, what is potentially some messaging behind that? Is there something I have to heal emotionally, something I'm carrying that's ready to go? What is the body trying to get rid of, expel?
Okay, yes. Well, remember that the body itself has so many energy vortices and meridians. The meridians themselves carry information. They're like little highways and roads
Mhm.
inside of you. So when you even keep hitting on, like it's funny, well, not funny. I'm saying like hitting a big toe. What meridian, what reflex, what point do you keep striking that reverberates all the way up as a meridian through the body? And these meridians, you can look at them as these energy lines of force, which everybody will learn when they start exploring healing. And so that's all tied up into the energy field, right into your aura. So the aura is not some, imagination of some sort of whimsical field around you. It is a very structured, highly intelligent, and very organized system, a complex system that aligns you up between your physical body right back to your soul and right back
Mhm.
to universal divine creation. This is literally a massive cascading flow of life force, higher, greater mind of the divine, and obviously with love. So when it starts talking to you down in the physical and says, look, I got a sore big toe, or my lower back is thrown, or I don't feel so good in my stomach, it's cold, or it feels like empty or hollow inside, that's an that's your clues. That's like, well, that means those highways are blocked off. There's some trouble in those highways, in those lines of force. And so it's like, well, it's telling you that. You know that pit of your stomach feeling
Mhm.
when you have that, for example, you're like, ooh, I feel anxious, or I feel this. It's like there's something cold or not working well in the body. You know, your lines of force are somehow being compromised
Yes.
between your physical and your subtle energy bodies.
And I believe now is a very sacred time where we are meant to jump into embodying harmony and values and our power as women. And if we're not stepping up to that call and we're chasing the inauthentic, superficial, looking good, being on Instagram too much, if we're chasing the inauthentic route or afraid to seek our authentic path, this is why bodies are fracturing right now. Emotional bodies of women, mental bodies, physical
Yep.
bodies. I believe a lot of it has to do with the body saying, this is not your path.
Yeah.
No, no,
That's
no,
right.
no.
No,
You're meant
no.
to seek, embody your authenticity, truth, a moral compass, integrity, optimal health. And when we're not following that, there's so much more life force being hemorrhaged to try to make us look together.
And it's not going to work. And if you don't get to the actual restructuring of the unification of all the systems, you're living on the external, you're living on the surface. What you're doing is you're depleting and weakening your potential because you're
Mhm.
settling for the manifestation of an external shell. Now,
Yeah.
remember, the shell is the physical. You receive it at birth. You actually lay it down at your time of death. It's a shell relative to so many of the voluminous energy bodies of the rest of your system. And so it's a beautiful shell. It's a highly intelligent shell, but it is finite. It will start when you take your first breath and it will end when you take your last. So that body is it gives me goosebumps to think how much nature's intelligence has been poured into the making of it. I mean, look at the fantastic, I'm sure doctors marvel at the fantastic way that it 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 has other backup systems, for example,
Mhm.
like when a pathogen or something comes in the body, there's all these backup systems with the immune. I'm using that just as an example, but we need to be fascinated right now, women, of our bodies. We have to understand it. We can't live life just putting some makeup on it and brushing it out and tanning it up and exercising it and going, it's good to go. You
Yeah,
know, like,
for sure.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
feel right now because it's not working. You know, even those who choose that path are like, but how come I'm not feeling peace and joy
right.
and like I'm not feeling on.
No,
I may still look kind of the part, but I feel like we're literally cracking open to our greatness and our full power, and we're
yes,
being given this window of time to not be scared, to leap into it courageously,
yeah.
to be authentic. And you know, when there's people, you don't meet them all the time, but when people have those luminescent auras and
Oh,
they're so strong, and you know they're embodying their soul mandate on this planet, you almost feel the energy.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what
That's
we are all meant to do right now.
That's the great
Fill our auras with that.
electromagnetics. Yes, the great electromagnetics of it. Can you imagine, like you said, as you as you turn your attention away from the emphasis on the physical alone and start turning inward to what's behind all of that physical present. Now you're tapping beyond the electric
Yes.
field, and now you're leaving this the chemistry of the body and so on. And you know, obviously there's all sorts of great things that are being found out there with regard to better health and well-being. But I think when you throw that all in a blender, you got to come right back to just what is aligning with your soul. And so when you turn to your emotional and your mental and your spiritual and your creative and your reflective, and you start exploring that, you won't stop. You won't
No.
stop because you'll be so fascinated by what you're finding, and you're going to be a little annoyed with yourself with how you've neglected looking
Yes.
that. And that's okay. That'll pass, but dive in.
Yes. And I know we committed to 30 minutes this evening. So
Yeah.
we are going to, and we'll continue these beautiful conversations next Sunday. But I want to do a quick shout out to one of my favorite healers, practitioners, nurses, homeopaths that does all of this work.
Beautiful.
And I want to encourage everyone who's looking for a health practitioner who really understands what we've talked about tonight. You can find her on Instagram, Sophia V Holistic. I'll also put a link to her newsletter below. But I love her so much. She is helping women to do exactly what we're talking about tonight. And
Beautiful.
just a
Yes.
quick shout out to Sophia. And for all of the women who are
Yes.
really ready to master their auric field, their spiritual greatness, embody their soul mandate, Kathy and I have put together our very first spiritual life coaching certification. That's
Mm.
coming in September.
So excited. Yes.
Yes. And we are going to be mentoring women on truly this is the time. This is the time that women really have to be courageous to leap into their soul calling and to get those auric fields so magnetic that it actually inspires everyone around them to do the same. And so this program,
Yeah.
you can go to spiritualsociety.com under courses. It's the spiritual life coaching certification. It's virtual, so you can be anywhere in the world. And if I missed anything, Kathy, please share.
Well, only thing I would like to add to that is that it has um I like to look at it as every woman in some way, shape, or form uh, needs to reawaken her own gift of healing. So it's healing yourself. Like, it's like you have to heal yourself and advance and progress in that your consciousness is raised and the enlightenment is found. But no matter in which way you coach in life, because women coach in so many different ways. They are look how much is poured into life. Whether a woman is in the uh, business world, CEO on a construction site, whether she's an artist, whether she is helping in medicine or health and wellness, wherever, or maybe she's at home and she's making sure her children are being coached along with life. What this program is about, it is about understanding, learning, and using the systems of intelligence of life. What we're going to be teaching the women is how life really is supposed to operate. So
Mhm.
we've lived so much in that outside of it and just giving and doing and being busy and giving and giving and giving without stopping to turn it in to say, I really need to look after myself, and then I'm a better coach for everybody and in every way. And so what the program is going to be showing is how the systems of intelligence interact, like how do they interface and work together, starting from the physical all the way back into the energy fields, so that when you're done, you not only have a thorough understanding of how that works, but you were also cleaning up those highways and those energy crossings.
I
So
love
yeah, I'm
it.
looking forward to it.
I love it. And a lot of the trainings we've found, the spiritual element is not there. And we're in a time now where we must be trained on the spiritual mastery wisdom. And this is what this program is all about. So I will put the link below, but you can also go to the website you see in the top corner, spiritualsociety.com. And we look forward to
Yes.
having you next time with us on
Yeah.
Spiritual Sunday.
Yes. Beautiful.
Thanks again,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye now.